Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and expands our base. I want to talk with you this morning about a book I just finished reading. The President's War: 6 American Presidents and the Civil War That Divided Them by Chris DeRose. I just finished the book. It's absolutely superb. At the time of the Civil War, there were 5 living former presidents, and Abraham Lincoln had just been elected. And there were deep divisions among the former presidents, and America was on the precipice of fighting the Civil War. I want to share with you a line in this book on page 118. It is a powerful line because it reflects what many feel about the state of our union today. And I quote directly. Stephen Douglas, let me remind you, Stephen Douglas, the man who was Abraham Lincoln's great opponent, the great Lincoln-Douglas debates. Stephen Douglas wrote former President Millard Fillmore, and I quote directly, "The prospects of our country are indeed gloomy, but I do not yet despair of the Union." That's right. The prospects of our country are indeed gloomy, but I do not yet despair of the Union. That is, I think, the sense of many Americans who believe that, yes, prospects are gloomy, but we must have hope. We must believe. And that belief in the American system is so critical. Now, why do I reflect on this one line from this book? Former President Donald Trump, the soon-to-be President of the United States, appeared on Meet the Press and talked about the 14th Amendment and the right of birth citizenship. He said he wants it removed. He talked about doing it by executive action, which, of course, he cannot. The Constitution cannot be changed unless there is a constitutional amendment. And let me remind you, one amendment to our Constitution, the 18th Amendment, the Prohibition Amendment, was repealed by the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. In short, if you want to change the Constitution, you have to amend it. And if you want to remove the amendment, you have to make that action again. You can't do it by executive order. Now, let me be clear about this. The 14th Amendment, passed in 1868, guarantees birthright citizenship to anyone born in the United States of America. It is part of our Constitution. When Donald Trump raises his right hand on January 20th next, he will take the following oath, 35 simple words. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Those 35 words, well, there was an addition made by George Washington. It's not in the Constitution, but it's a tradition that you end with the words, "So help me God." And each president has said those words as part of the oath. What is the meaning of Donald Trump's attempt to change the Constitution? Well, let's be clear. He can't change it unilaterally. He must obey the Constitution. And the 14th Amendment, including birthright citizenship, was intended to say, if you are born in the United States of America, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, you become a citizen of this great country. If Donald Trump is going to swear to uphold the Constitution, if he wants to change the Constitution, he will have to go through the process of a constitutional amendment. And you and I know that the 14th Amendment will not be amended. It is going to stand, and I believe it is a good thing that it stands. There are many people listening to the sound of my voice who are citizens because of birthright citizenship. Their parents came from all over the world for freedom and opportunity. And being born here in the United States, They are embraced by our country and receive birthright American citizenship. That is one of the keystones that makes America so special, so important. This is a critical point. And by the way, we are not the only nation in the world with birthright citizenship. You can Google it, you can read about it, you can see it. I believe that Donald Trump, when he takes that oath of office to uphold the Constitution, must do just that. And I believe any attempt to subvert the meaning of the Constitution, well, it would be just plain wrong. I want to say a word about Adam Schiff, who took the oath of office yesterday as the United States Senator representing California. He finishes the balance of Dianne Feinstein's term, and he will be, of course, taking the oath of office for the full term in January. I want to say a word about Adam Schiff, because Donald Trump has threatened prosecution of Adam Schiff because of his involvement in the January 6th committee. He's also suggested that Liz Cheney might be subject to such a, I believe, an incredible violation of our law. The idea that individuals who take stands with which you disagree should be indicted, should go to jail, is completely wrong. Now, to his credit, Trump sort of backed off because he knows he can't initiate that kind of action. But what about Kash Patel? What about a new Attorney General of the United States, Ms. Bondi? Can they pursue revenge? I say this to you because I want you to understand very clearly that when Donald Trump takes the oath of office, he must uphold the Constitution. He cannot misuse levers of government for vindictive or personal political purposes. I say this because, it all comes together. It all is clear. We face a constitutional moment, a moment in which a president will take an oath of office, and we must ensure that that oath of office is preserved and protected, as our country must be preserved and protected. Thank heaven for an Adam Schiff, who may disagree with Donald Trump, but has the perfect right to exert his voice and his influence if he disagrees with the president. I commend Adam Schiff because he said he wants to work in a bipartisan basis, and I believe his words are true. He will. My hope is that Donald Trump will do the same thing. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow. That's our goal, of course. And I want to point out that you can interact with me on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And my special appreciation to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this program. She makes sure that, it's up and running every single day. Gogo, thanks so much. I am John Rothman. I will be back tomorrow with another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman.